I think it's pretty obvious by now that you shouldn't try to keep everything in your head. You know, there is the old David Allen from like Getting Things Done adage of your brain is for having ideas, not for storing them, which I really like. Tons of resources online talking about how you can best use to-do lists, calendars, note-taking apps, whatever project management tool you want. It feels like it's a big enough pile that I don't really want to add to it. I think it's basically ubiquitous that you should write all the important stuff down. Today, I want to convince you that writing the unimportant things down can be just as important. Alright, so let's start from a few steps back. I grew up as a Lego kid, like through and through. I loved it. I loved everything Lego, from the simplest blocks to the most complicated ones. And I know that some kids really like to organize their Lego, you know, either by color or by shape or just like some level of organization. Not me though. For me, the half of the joy was just like digging around in a pile or a box of Lego pieces, trying to find the one that I'm looking for. Don't worry, I'm going somewhere with this. The analogy that I'm trying to build here is that your disconnected random ideas are your Lego blocks. And if you are a knowledge worker of any type, then your job is kind of to build something from these ideas. Now, there are two layers to this when it comes to kind of like unimportant notes. And the first is kind of like you have to just keep all of your Lego bricks. If you don't write down your unimportant random disconnected ideas, in my head the analogy would be that you like find a Lego brick somewhere and then, oh, it's only a Lego brick, and then you throw it in the trash. Yeah, of course, like now it's only a Lego brick, but you won't ever have this glorious pile of material that you can dig through if you don't start keeping the individual pieces. Now, the second thing with the Lego analogy is that you have to keep all of your materials in one place. As we established, it doesn't have to be organized, it can be a pile, but it has to be in one place. And again, in the analogy, like, can you imagine that you are building something from Legos, but you have to walk to a different room every time to look for bricks? It's insane, you know, it's silly. It should all be in one place where you can start working from it, right? Alright, let's move out from the Lego analogy to make it a bit clearer. So principle number one of like keeping the Lego bricks is you have to write everything down. And it doesn't matter if it's digital, if it's analog, if it's a voice note to yourself, anything goes. The point is that you just have to keep the ideas. I have scratch notes on my phone, both personal and professional. My wallet has a notebook in it. I usually have at least 1 or 2 notebooks on me. Just write everything down. And, you know, a lot of people don't write stuff like this down because they think it's like silly or, oh, it's not important, you know, why would I write that down? And I think it's basically like a hubris. And it's very funny because when I talk to people like this, they always are very quick to kind of decide that something is unimportant. And like my honest reaction always like, who do you think you are to kind of see the future and gauge what's important and not? Our fields and our industries, basically all of knowledge work is built on creative recombination. Random ideas coming together in a novel way. That's how innovation works. Who are you to gauge now what is gonna turn into something great in the future? No, it's just silly. Just write it down. So my personal example of this, I have notes from my note stack, which made it into my actual research 6 months after I wrote them down during a seminar, which I didn't enjoy. The title looked cool, I attended, and then the seminar itself turned out to be not really interesting for me, and I just didn't walk out because we weren't a lot of people there. And then I just sat through the whole thing, kind of half-heartedly listened and let my brain simmer. And then I just kept writing down random ideas that came to mind. And then at the end, we were talking 2 weeks ago with my supers, and I was like, oh, actually, I think I remember something along these lines. And I just pulled it up, and then now it's in the research. It was an unimportant idea, but look, it's a Lego brick. It made it into the build. All right, so that should cover kind of like, you know, keeping all the Lego bricks, so principle 1. Principle number 2 is keep them in one place. It can be as organized as you prefer it to be. It's really individual. You can be a pile kid like myself. I really like to just chuck notes into one folder titled Archive in my notes, which has like 700 notes by now, and then I rely on my search engine to find the stuff. Like, it's just, that's how I operate. I have friends who have like these elaborate multi-level folder structures. Do whatever works for you. You know, if you take a lot of notes in analog, then if you have one notebook for that, that's great. I also very often just take pictures of analog notebooks and then just paste it into a markdown file and then add a few keywords so my search engine can find it for later, which is a pretty like kind of seamless way to kind of bridge the digital analog divide. But yeah, you can put as much thought into organizing them as you prefer. You don't have to do any of it. I'm still fine and I'm a pile kid through and through, but keep them in one place because it's gonna come in handy. And this place, this one place where you store all of your ideas, can serve as like a swipe file. So a swipe file is very common in advertising and marketing, and it's basically this collection of ideas and the references for future projects. So this can be anything from like tried and true copywriting material to like hooks for advertising or a design that you like. It's basically whatever you like, you should just chuck it in the swipe file. And then, you know, as you like stuff, collect it in there. And then when you need some inspiration, you can just open the top and then go through the swipe file and then see whether there is something that sparks an idea. In the context of research, this can be like a cool paragraph of like an introduction or a cool argument or something along these lines. It just can go all in the swipe file. So Austin Kleon says this beautifully in Still Like an Artist, because newspaper reporters call this swipe file the morgue file. And what Austin Kleon says is that the morgue, it's quite poetic, because the morgue file is where you keep all the dead stuff that you will later reanimate through your work. And I just find this absolutely beautiful. Yeah, I don't think I can finish on a higher note than that one. So thank you very much for watching. Write your unimportant ideas down, keep them in one place, and then watch this video that the almighty algorithm thinks that will fit you. See you next time.